Good afternoon, world. Happy Friday. How do I sound, everybody? Kino, does that sound good? Can you hear me? Hopefully you all can hear me. Test, test, test. Welcome to the webinar. Kino, are you there? Leave a comment, somebody. Make sure we can hear me. Yes, good. Awesome. Happy Friday. Welcome to our second webinar. Talking about well, this is the second webinar totally, but we're talking about increasing conversions on your website this fine day. Hey Dan, hey Hanada, hey Kino, hey Rod, thanks for watching. We'll get started in just a moment. Let a few more people pop in. I'm super excited about today's webinar because it's something that we're hyper focused on at Good Monster, and we're working on internal processes. And so this is a very real subject for us and something I love talking about. And I'm super excited for all of you out there watching to learn how we're doing it, how we're increasing conversions for our clients, and how you can do the same. It's going to have lots of free resources and all the software stacks and all of that kind of stuff in today's webinar. So if you're watching this right now, share this on your LinkedIn or your socials if you think that your coworkers or your boss or anybody can find this valuable. Just a reminder, we do these every Friday, most Fridays. However, next Friday, we're not going to have a traditional webinar. We're actually going to do an interview with a good friend of mine, Chris Penabianco. He's the chief marketing officer at Security. They make gun safes for in-home gun safes and storage systems that make it safe to keep your firearms at home, things like that. But he's a super smart marketer, really great marketer. And coincidentally, we were talking the other day, and he mentioned how people underestimate direct mail. Yes, mail, snail mail, physical paper mail in 2022, and how we all think it's all digital all the time, right? But him and some of his partners have found huge success off of direct mail. And I was like, we got to talk, man. Can I interview you about it? I want to learn more about direct mail and how it's working in today's digital age, because as we all know, it's super saturated online. Everybody is online, especially after the pandemic, trying to sell stuff and market stuff and buy my products. And direct mail is a place that not a lot of companies are putting their efforts. So I want to interview him and the experts behind the direct mail campaigns that they're finding successful. So next Friday, I'll be doing an interview right here live with Chris and his team. So if you are interested in learning how you can succeed with direct mail when everybody else is going digital, tune in next Friday. And then the week after that, we're back with another webinar about how to grow your revenue on Amazon. That's my team works on Amazon accounts for our clients every day, all day. And it's something that we're very knowledgeable about, both here in the United States as well as in Brazil, and global marketplaces as well. So if you want to learn how to squeeze more revenue and more efficiency out of Amazon, that will be coming next week. But since we only have an hour here, let's dive in. Okay, I'm going to add this slide here. Just a reminder that you can download this deck here. Let me get back to the, oops. Where are we? I'm at the last slide already. Here's a little sneak peek at the entire slide deck. You can download this deck in Google Slides or as like your own PowerPoint, because we want you to be able to edit it. There's a notes section here. I'll show you. Let me make this a little bit bigger. There's a notes section you can see in the bottom left-hand corner here, and you can literally type notes in to this section as I'm talking about the different aspects. You can write notes on what I'm talking about or ideas that you have that you can apply to your own business. But we wanted to make this much more like a workbook and less like a traditional slide deck. So make sure you go and download that. Kino, are we going to put a link to download it? I can't remember. Just put in the chat here how we're going to get this to people. I want to make sure everybody has an opportunity to see the deck. Can you want to put in the chat or jump on screen and just tell the people how they can get this deck? Well, while Kino is, there we go, QR code. Scan the QR code. So scan this code right on the screen right now, and it will lead you to the place where you can make a copy. So the technical way to do it is scan this QR code, and then when you land in Google Slides, go to make a copy, and then make a copy of the Google slide. And you can download it if you'd rather use PowerPoint, or you can keep it in your own Google account. But then there you can go in and you can edit this. You can go in and make your own notes and things like that. So awesome. Thanks, Kino. Okay. So let's dive into it. I'm going to go back one more. So how to increase conversions on your website. Now, this is a very broad, comprehensive webinar. We're going to be talking about all the steps and the different aspects of the steps of increasing conversions, really specifically on your website. But I should say that, you need to pay attention to the full funnel. So everything from top of funnel, total awareness, never heard of you or your brand before is going to, could help or hurt your ability to convert on your website, right? I'll just give you an instance. Let's say you're running a Google ad that says, hey, click here to buy shoes. It's $60 off. They click on the Google ad and get to your website. If that landing page doesn't really map, doesn't align with that Google ad, for instance, maybe you forgot to put the $60 off coupon there, or maybe it's $60 off, but the shoes are $1,000 a pair or something crazy like that. If it doesn't satisfy what that person clicking on the ad wants, satisfy their needs, then they're going to leave and you're not going to get the conversion, right? So even if your website is fully optimized with everything I'm going to talk about, if your top of funnel strategies don't map to what you're offering on your website, then you might lose that conversion. So in this webinar, we're going to be talking specifically about the on-page analysis and changes that you can make. But you need to do this first. This is bottom of funnel, people. You need to get your bottom of funnel in order before you spend money on top of funnel. Otherwise, you're wasting a bunch of money. Okay, so let's get into it. The beginning is just an outline. These are all the different topics. So when you download this, you can click on 1, 2, 3, 4. You can go straight to the section. Okay. So let's get into the first topic. So the first one, now this is a step-by-step process. So all the things that you want to pay attention to and set up on your website to ensure that you are maximizing your ability to convert. And there's a lot of different things, and most of those things or categories have specific software that can help you do it. Now, some of these software programs we use internally, we have a lot of experience with, and some of them we're either planning on implementing, but we've done our research, and I've done my research in making sure that they are quality programs and they're used by some of the biggest, best companies in the world. So there's a lot of social proof behind them. So hopefully you find them valuable, and if they're good, you can use them for your company. But sort of the first thing you want to do now, if you have an existing website, this webinar is for you. If you don't have an existing website, this webinar is still for you, but because you can start from scratch and make sure that you have everything set up on your site to maximize your ability to measure everything, which is the key to conversions, and take action to optimize those data points to maximize your customer journey, which will then maximize your ability to convert customers. And we're going to start with heat maps. So heat maps are an amazing tool. There's several programs out there. One that I'm really loving is Lucky Orange. We use another one called Hotjar at Good Monster. And heat maps essentially measure where clicks happen on a page, where where the cursor goes to on a page. And it's sort of common knowledge in the analytical world that where the mouse goes, your eyes go. So it tracks where the mouse is going, and that you can use that data to know where people's eyes are going. Now, why would you want a heat map? Well, as you can see in the example right here, the red area is where the mouse movement, the cursor movement is going to the most, right? And so you can now see where people are looking first and most. So for whatever reason, the top left image isn't getting as much love. And a lot of times it's because our eyes, we read left to right, and our eyes scan generally left to right. And so oftentimes when you reach a website, the first thing you do is you look left and you go right very fast. You don't even think about doing it. So you can even test this right now. Go to your phone. If you're not watching this on your phone, go to a website. Of course, now you're thinking of it, but you're going to probably look quick left and then go right. So what's happening is they're quickly looking left. My camera's backwards here, but going left, and they're going right, and then they're staying on that sort of right section, which is why you see it all red right there, right? And then a zigzag pattern happens down the screen. And so our eyes quickly go left to right, and then they zig back down to the left. And so as we're doing that, you can sort of see the touch points, or the kind of the areas where people are going and their eyes are going. It starts that upper right-hand side, and then it kind of pings down to that little yellow dot in the middle, on the middle left. And then it goes over that little yellow dot on the right. And then for some reason, it sticks over here on the left-hand side where you see that red dot section on the lower left-hand side. Now, it's probably an attractive image. It's something where people are drawn to that image, whereas the one in the upper left-hand corner isn't as attractive. It's not as, shocking, or it's not as, noticeable, right? So they're sticking on that image. So using heat maps, you can use this data to be able to figure out where to put buttons, call to actions. That's probably one of the more important things, is making sure that your buttons are in the right place. And generally, you want to put buttons on where people's eyes are going, because that's where they're going to be looking already. And you want them especially to be where people's eyes are sticking. So you want pertinent information and or buttons into those red areas in most cases. And now heat maps measure a lot of different devices. So this is a desktop version of Wikipedia right here. And then heat maps can also measure on mobile devices like tablets or mobile phones. And your heat maps are going to look very different on a desktop than they would on a mobile phone, because people act differently on a desktop as they do on a mobile phone. So here's another one. This one is actually a Lucky Orange software kind of screenshot, and I'm not sure why it's not playing. It should be a GIF. Maybe it is. When you download the Google slide, it should play for you. But you can see here where people are actually clicking. So not only do heat maps show where people are moving their cursor, but also where they are actually clicking. And this is extremely important, especially for companies that aren't investing a lot in their website. Maybe you're using a Shopify template or a WordPress template or something like that, and you're just relying on the template to put your buttons and menu items wherever the template decides. But if there is, let's say, a title that people are clicking on that is not a clickable title, then you know that, well, a lot of people think this is a button. They're trying to click it. So I should probably turn that into a link, or I should turn that into a button, right? Because the goal of any website is to get people to go into the website, right? To go further into the website and eventually take an action. So if people are clicking on something that's not clickable, they're going to get a little frustrated. We don't like to wait. We're impatient. So you need to make sure that you're using click maps to make educated decisions based on data on where to place your buttons. Now, heat maps can do other things as well. And a lot of the heat map software like Lucky Orange or Hotjar, they do more than just heat maps. They'll actually screen record So you can go through and actually watch. Sorry, did my mic just mute? I don't know if my mic just muted. I just got a notification saying my mic was muted. I don't know what just happened, but I'll say that last piece again. So Lucky Orange and Hotjar, these heat map softwares, they have other capabilities as well. They'll actually record a screen, so they can do screen record where they'll actually take a video of somebody moving through your website. It won't collect any data on them. It will just I was on mute. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Literally just randomly went on mute. But it will record a video that your team can then go back and watch, and it can show you where they went, like what was their behavior on the website. So click tracking, heat mapping, scroll mapping, which is extremely important for mobile user data. So it will show you how far down the page they're scrolling. If nobody's scrolling past the first little section, the hero section, or above the fold, then you know to put general common knowledge. You know to put all the less valuable information down at the bottom and put all the most valuable information down up at the top. But you also might find on the scroll feature that people are really fast, like scrolling past the first one, and then they're stopping at a particular area. And if they're stopping at a particular area, you know, well, that's catching their attention. So we should probably put some more important information there. So Lindsay, my lovely wife, asks, how do heat maps work in mobile when there's no mouse? There you go. Just clicks. How does the heat map know where your eyes are going on mobile? Good question. And short answer is generally it doesn't. It measures scroll and it measures clicks. But it can also screen record just like it can on desktop. So you can actually watch the video of somebody and what they're doing, and then you can see where they're clicking. So the way our eyes work on mobile is that we stop scrolling when we're looking at something. And remember, there's not as much area to look at. Whereas on a desktop, it's wider. So we can go right, left, we can go up, down. But on a phone, our eyes are pretty much in the same, sort of general area. So when you watch a video recording of the phone, or in some cases a tablet, when the scrolling stops, that's where our eyes are. So that's how you kind of analyze it on mobile. Okay. Hopefully you're taking some notes. You can use the deck to take your notes in if you don't want to just take them on your own paper or something like that. So next slide here. All right. Kino, I'm going to take some of these controls, but feel free to change it if you feel it's needed. So next step is to do a page performance analysis. You want to identify the leaks and determine the causes. Now, there's a term in marketing called the leaky bucket. And the leaky bucket is essentially when people leave your website, or in some cases leave your funnel, because they're frustrated or they get distracted or there's something that causes them to leave. A lot of times a bounce rate will be high on your website if your site speed's not great. So if your site takes too long to load, people get frustrated and they leave. They're leaking out of your bucket, right? So you want to do a page performance analysis to identify all of the leaks and determine the causes. And there's so many of them, right? There's so many. It could be site speed. People don't want to wait. It could be they got to the site, but now the next page is taking too long to load. Maybe a video is slowing down your website, and so it's kind of buggy and tough for them to move throughout the website in any sort of fluidity. Maybe they clicked on a link, but the link was broken. Maybe they clicked on a link in an article that's leading them out of the website. So maybe your SEO team was thinking that they were doing a service and they were putting valuable links in a blog post that they're reading. But when they click the link, instead of opening a new tab, it leads them to the other website, and they leave your website. And then wherever they went, they're getting their information, or they're more attracted to that. And so they never come back to your website. So you need to make sure that you understand where people are leaving and why, because it might seem valuable to put a external link into a blog post, a resource or something like that. But if you don't have it open up a new tab, they may be leaving your website and they may never come back. So you want to do a page performance analysis, and usually Google Analytics is the no-brainer to do this. It will help you understand where your traffic is coming from. It will help you segment. It will help you monitor, geographical areas and flow through the website and bounce rate and bounce areas. So it will help you analyze all of the intra-website data. And so you can figure out where people are going through your website and then where they're leaving. Some of the other software programs that I'm going to talk about in this webinar can also be used for page performance analysis. And that actually brings up a good point. A lot of the software programs in here they have features that cross over, right? So the next one I'm going to talk about, I'm going to skip ahead here just quick, is Heap. And Heap is a great customer experience software. They do a lot of things, and it can also do a page performance analysis. But what I'm suggesting is software that is, in my opinion, the best for this particular case, but some of these other programs could be used for it. So you might find that Heap is an amazing software and it will do a lot of the things I'm going to talk about in this webinar. Or you might, download and sign up for some of these other software programs to do the specific task that I'm going to be talking about. So page performance. This step is purely to figure out the performance of each page on your website. How long are people staying there? When are they leaving? Can you figure out why they're leaving? Where are they leaving? You want to have an understanding of the different page performance. And the easiest way to do this is start with the most important ones. Your homepage, very important, because it's sort of the default. If people get lost in your website, they're going to default back to the homepage to start over. If they went down a wormhole of a blog post and they clicked on blog post after blog post and they're like, wait a minute, I've been reading these blog posts, I want to get back and figure out what this company does, they're going to click back to your homepage. So you want to start with your homepage. That goes for heat maps, as well as page performance, and then start going into your most important parent pages, and then into your most important child pages and product pages if you're working on e-commerce. Okay. So next, review customer behavior across your CRM, your client or customer relationship management software, and make sure you understand how people are behaving on your website. Now, you could infer some of this with your page performance data, but a software program like Heap will allow you to get a better grasp at people's actual behavior on your website. What are their different click-throughs, and what are their different intents, conversions by channel, things like that. So Heap is a great software program to be able to analyze what people are doing and what customers are doing, and also to make sort of projections and forecasts for you based on that data. So behavior on a website is an extremely important thing to understand, because all of that data can actually be used in your off-page marketing. So when you do customer data research, customer behavior data research, you could find out that when people go to your website, they are purchasing one product way more than others. And you're like, okay, this product is getting way more sales than many others. So you can in turn make the decision of, what, this is one of our most profitable products. We have a huge margin here. This is really great. And so we want to then go and start creating content on Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat or LinkedIn or wherever else around the benefits and the value of this particular product, because we want to pour more fuel on the fire. We want to keep selling more of that product. this is actually something that I come across quite a bit in talking with chief marketing officers or marketing leaders, is that oftentimes non-marketing leaders, especially in the operations space, they want to even out their, product sales and their product mix. They don't want one product selling a ton and then have all of these other products not selling, right? That's oftentimes, and I know marketing leaders out there, you are in these meetings all the time where the CEO or COO or chief product officer is like, oh, this is great that product A is selling amazing, but like we got product B, C, D, E, and F that aren't selling at all. Can we put out some more posts and do some more ads to drive more revenue with these products? And I totally understand why that is. I do. I totally get it. And it totally makes sense. You're investing resources in making these products. Thus, you want to sell more. However, if a particular product is hot, it's selling like hotcakes, it's going crazy, it's trending. Maybe it was featured in some article or some magazine. Are there magazines anymore? Some online magazine, and it's selling like crazy. There's no reason why you shouldn't double down on that. Why would you stop and put that fire out just in order to try to make use of these products that you have over here? I do get why you're thinking of that, but you should really use that data and say, this product's selling amazing. Let's make sure that we can produce a shitload more of them, and then go and create more social posts and more emails and more ads and more awareness and try to get in more media publications about this particular product because it's clearly our best seller. Let's go with it. In the meantime, we can still try to bring up product B, C, and D in sales, or better yet, which I'll talk about in a little bit, we can add cross sells. So if you bought product A, you could retarget to get them to come back and buy product B, or maybe in your checkout when they have your product A in their cart, you can suggest product B as well and try to increase your average order value. But I don't want to get too ahead, so we'll get to that in just a moment. Okay. Next, perform keyword research to identify search intent trends. So search intent, what is search intent? It is, what is the intent of somebody when they are searching for something? Are they looking for education? They don't know enough about a particular topic. So they're going to Google and they're trying to learn more about a particular topic. Another search intent is specific information. So not education, but information. Maybe you're looking for directions or the menu of your favorite local restaurant. You want to pick out some food. You're looking for a phone number, right? You're looking for a specific piece of information. So you go to Google and you try to find that piece of information. Another one is to buy a product. So maybe you're searching for a pair of shoes, but you're not sure what kind of shoes you want. You want white ones, you want sneakers, but you're not sure what brand or, what kind. So these are different search intents. And so those searches typically start in a search engine. It'll start on YouTube, it'll start on Google, it'll start on Amazon, or, other sort of search engines or marketplaces. You want to understand what the search intent is of your target audience so that you can satisfy that search intent on your website. So this goes back to my earlier statement, whereas conversions start at top of funnel, even though they end generally either on your website or on a marketplace like Amazon. And you want to make sure you're doing keyword research to identify those search trends and those search intents. So for example, I recently was looking for a pair of white sneakers to get ready for the summer. Also, I wear them as house shoes. I'm in the basement office here, my studio, and it's freezing down here, even when the weather's warmer. So I wear shoes down here to keep my feet warm. So I was looking for these white sneakers, but I didn't know what kind I wanted or what brand. I had some ideas, but I just went to Google and I typed in trending white sneakers. I'm trying to remember when I did it, like trending white sneakers or trendy white sneakers or something like that. And then Google shopping ads are what showed up first. Those are the product ads that show up at the top of the search. And so I scrolled through those and I found some that were attractive and I clicked on them, right? And I went into the next section, which I think went directly to the website for this particular Google ad. And then I landed on the website. My search intent was to buy sneakers. But when I went to the website, I saw those sneakers, I saw the price, And then I went over to Amazon and I saw if I could get them there, because who doesn't love Amazon? You get free returns, you get 1 day or 2 day shipping, and it's the easiest purchasing experience out there. It wasn't cheaper. Actually, I don't even think they were available over there. Then I went back to the website. I looked again, and I saw that the shipping took up to a week, I think. And I said I wanted them faster. So I went back to Google and I looked up to see if I could buy them at Finish Line, because I could literally go to the store and buy them at Finish Line. And I looked up the price, and they were actually a little bit cheaper if I went into Finish Line to the store than they were on this website. So we will get to this in a moment about the 4 Ps and making sure that your price is right. But my search intent was to buy, but I didn't purchase because the price was lower and the convenience was better at another area. So by identifying the keywords that are driving traffic to your website, you can try to, along with some of the other steps down this webinar that I'll talk about in a moment, you can get an idea of what keywords are bringing the most traffic in, what keywords are going to convert or are converting the most customers, and you can make adjustments based on those keyword trends. The software we use for this is SEMrush. There's a lot of other software programs, as I mentioned. This one's a good one. SEMrush also does a lot of other things that are very valuable, especially when it comes to SEM, search engine marketing, paid media, as well as SEO. So let's see. I got a question here. LinkedIn. How would the intent work on a food blog for a specific recipe? Most food blogs they make money off of advertising and affiliate marketing. Maybe some sponsored content as well, but that's advertising, really. So search intent for a food blog is I'm just guessing because I don't have the data on it, but I'm just guessing for a food blog, the search intent is a mix of education and information. You might be trying to educate yourself on what recipes are the best to cook for Mother's Day. Mother's Day is coming up if you're watching this live in America, in the US. So you might be looking up a recipe, but you're not looking for a specific recipe. You don't even know what to cook yet. So I might be looking for what's a great Mother's Day dinner to cook. So I search that in Google. And then one of the first listings may be, top 10 recipes for Mother's Day. I click on that link, and then it brings me to a blog where it shows the top 10 recipes. So I'm still in the educational, I'm trying to be educated on what recipes are going to be good for Mother's Day. Then when I find one of those 10 that sounds delicious, my intent shifts to information because I click on it trying to get the recipe. So I'm looking for specifically for the recipe, which then I'm going to copy, and maybe I might even save it. I might copy the list over to my notes because I'm going to go to the grocery store and buy all the ingredients. So the intent is information then. So again, how does that site make money? They may make money on affiliate marketing. A lot of times you'll see we recommend this seasoning, right? And if you click that, it maybe leads to Amazon or another place where you can buy the seasoning and they'll get a commission on it. Another one might be ads. Without a doubt, most food blogs, you'll see ads all over it. I mean, it could be general ads like Allstate Insurance or something like that. Or they could be specific ads on that website, which maybe it's a cookbook or something like that. They also might have their own products, digital products or physical products that they're selling. So they may be selling their own spices where you can buy it right on their website, or they may be selling their own digital cookbook, something like that, right? So that's a food blog in general. Okay, moving on. Next, you want to research market trends to ensure your 4 Ps are in line. So the traditional 4 Ps are product, place, price, and promotion. Your product is, all the product information, like your packaging and, how it looks, the brand, things like that. The place, where are you actually selling it? On your website, in a store, on social media with social commerce. So you can buy things directly on Instagram now and directly on TikTok, I think. If they're not, they're releasing it. Twitter's working on a social commerce play where you can buy it directly on Twitter. What's your price? I just mentioned that a few slides ago. You need to make sure you understand your competitor's price and Amazon's price and the price across other areas, because people will shop around. People will do just like I did with those sneakers. They're going to find a sneaker and they're going to say, wow, I love these, but let me see where I can get them at the lowest price and get them as fast as possible. And also I want to make sure I can return them if they don't fit. Okay. But the price is, the big one. And then promotion. How are you promoting it? Videos, what's on your product listings, the pictures, things like that. Now, if you look at this graphic right here, on the left, I just got this off the internet. I don't even know where it's from. Digitalmarketingarts.com. So thank you for that. Go check them out. I don't know what they do, but they make nice graphics. The traditional 4 Ps, product, place, price, and promotion, are very important to understand. They will help you understand your market. But what it's actually going to give you in terms of information, or what it's going to deliver to the potential customer, is your product is going to be a solution for them. It's a solution to something that they're looking for, a problem that they have. The place will, if you pay attention to the place, it will get that customer access to your brand and the products, right? So by analyzing your product, you're able to provide a solution. By analyzing your places, you're able to provide access. By analyzing your price, you're able to provide value. And by analyzing your promotions, you're able to provide information, right? A Instagram ad that's targeting somebody at the top of the funnel for awareness, but somebody who doesn't know who your product is or your brand is yet. It's providing them information that they need to figure out, oh, this video is interesting. I'm going to watch it. Okay. And then the same thing as they go down the funnel. If they like the video ad, maybe they'll take an action right there and click on it to go to to purchase the product, or maybe they will go somewhere else and search, for more information. Right. But this is a great way to look at the 4 Ps, and this sort of holistic effort of looking at the 4 Ps, or SAV. I can't read it. Can you make it too small? Hold on. SAVI. That's the new acronym. By analyzing this, you'll get an idea of what's going on in the market, and you can position yourself to be competitive and most attractive to potential customers. And a software program that's excellent at this is SimilarWeb. It's a pretty big company. I believe the software is relatively affordable, or at least starts out as affordable. But they started out as a company that basically compared similar websites, and they still do that today. That was sort of their core feature. But now they'll allow you to compare a lot of different things, and so you can make educated decisions about your market, about your website, how it stacks up to your competitors. So SimilarWeb is a great resource for that. Okay. So here's a little snapshot of SimilarWeb. You can see the category performance. So if you're in, this example is telecommunications, it'll show you the top websites for telecommunications. It will show you the device distribution. So in the telecommunications industry, people are visiting most on mobile versus desktop. Total visits to the telecommunication industry top 100 websites is 2.049 billion. So you can do some market research here based on SimilarWeb's collection of data. And then also this is another screenshot here showing category share. So for most of you out there that are running smaller or medium-sized companies, you're not after market share right now. You might be in market share of your local area or your geographical region if you're doing, sort of localized business. But, you're not going to be doing category share until you start becoming a $100 million plus company in most industries, unless it's like super niche. But you can at least take some tips from the top websites. You can go to their websites. You can see what they're doing to increase their traffic or their performance. And you can sort of borrow some of those things and apply them to your own website. Okay. Next, Segment your customers into rooms. Now, when I was making this webinar, I started out by saying segment your customers into buckets. And that's the common term, right? Like put your customer into a bucket. But I prefer to use the term rooms because when you're trying to attract, so my wife and I, tangent for a second. My wife and I are dabbling in real estate. So we're investing in properties and renting them out to people. And so this sort of thought came to me when I was thinking about that. When you're in real estate and you're trying to stage a house to make it look attractive, to look right for a particular type of customer or a particular type of renter, then you want to stage that room based on trends of that particular type of renter. So right now we're trying to rent to kind of young families, young, small families. Maybe they don't have enough good credit to buy a house yet, so they need to rent, but they maybe have a kid or a child on the way. And so they need a good place to live, right? So we want to make sure we're staging those rooms and those houses for that particular demographic of people. I look at segmenting your customers the same way. You want to sort of put them into rooms that are designed for them specifically. So this starts with making sure you're doing good customer behavior analysis, as I mentioned, and page analysis. You're looking at your 4 Ps. You're creating, your avatars, which I didn't get into in this webinar. That should be something that you're doing anyways, outside of converting. Marketing plan should always start with a customer avatar. But as you develop your avatar, put your customers into different rooms and sort of categorize them based on what their expectations are, what their hopes, dreams, and fears are, what their objections are going to be, to making purchases, and also what stage they're at the customer journey, right? Are they in the awareness stage? Are they in the decision-making stage, right? Are they in the purchasing stage? Like, where are they? So by putting them into, and as you can see here, I borrowed this from Gary Fox. This was a great little slide showing how you can sort of segment your customers into different rooms. But this will help you make decisions on everything from running a Google ad, targeting somebody in the awareness stage and making sure that they're landing on the right page on your website, which gives them information or education. Somebody who doesn't know who you are, they're in the awareness stage, they're not ready to purchase yet. So you wouldn't want to direct them straight to a product page generally, unless it's a shopping ad. You want to direct them to a page that convinces them that you're a good choice to continue to scroll on that website to try to consume more information. And then on that page, you can try to maybe have a live chat or pop-ups or product recommendations to kind of funnel them in even further. But by segmenting your customers into rooms, this will help everything from ad buying to email marketing to making decisions on where people click through and the workflow of clicks and links throughout your website. But having this information on hand is very important. And a software program that's amazing that does this really well is fittingly called Segment. And Segment is another widely used software program. It's by a company called Twilio, which I believe Twilio started out working on SMS, text marketing and things like that, but have quickly grown into being able to help you build out a customer journey across many different touch points. And it will help to segment your customers and even automate a lot of the processes and the things that they're doing, the actions that they're taking. Like if they click on this button and then they sign up via text, then they will get a text, that asks them to download a guide or something like that, right? So Segment is a great program to be able to facilitate that. Just a reminder, down in the right-hand corner there, if you haven't downloaded the deck that I'm showing right now, the workbook, as I'll call it, download it so that you can fill in the notes section. You can take notes on how you're going to apply this to your own business, or you can take notes just for your own education. But it's a Google slide or a PowerPoint. You can scan the code there and you can make a copy and actually go ahead and type right on the deck itself. Okay, next. We need to get into the actual work, the actual design, creating. And that starts with designing a wireframe to create a foundation for conversions. There's lots of wireframing softwares out there. In fact, a lot of old school designers still just sketch it. They'll still just draw, or they'll use a whiteboard and sticky notes to build out their wireframes. All a wireframe is it's just a rough sketch of what a website or web page or app or whatever is going to look like. I like to take it one step further, though, as I'm showing the graphic here, and make sure that your wireframes are showing that sort of workflow, right? What happens when they click on this button? Well, it goes to this page. What happens when they click on this button? Well, it goes to this page. So if you can wireframe and do your kind of workflow, your user flow at the same time, it will help you create a comprehensive sort of overall view of the customer journey before you actually start building things. A great software program is called Mockups, but it's spelled, as you can see, Moqups. Mockups is a great visual wireframe, but also sort of UX builder. As you can see, there's one example here where you can build kind of quick mockups and show user flows of how that's going to actually work in real time. And it's a very easy platform to use. You drag and drop and can build it right on there. So after you've built a wireframe, you can nail down your customer journey a bit more. So your wireframe, you might have sort of a technical, like, oh, if they click here, then they're going to click here. I guess this could be sort of flip-flopped. You might do your wireframe already if you have an existing website and you're trying to do some refreshing. But these things can sort of go hand in hand, because you can write your customer journey out as sort of a story. That's typically how I like to do it, is to write the customer journey out as an actual story, because it makes it more real, like somebody's actually doing it. So whereas the wireframe sort of workflow is much more technical and tactical, like literally if they click this button, then they go here. Your user journey map, or your customer journey map, is a little bit more holistic. As you can see, this little graphic that I found shows you the stages. So awareness, search, download, installation, use, support, review. If this was an e-commerce company, it might be more something like awareness, search, negotiation, purchase, use, support, and review. So what are the goals of those different areas? Well, you can see some of the goals in the awareness stage and the search stage. What are the actual activities that they're going to take, right? So in the awareness stage, they're going to be consuming information. So it might be watching videos. It might be reading a blog post or reading website information. What are the emotions? I love the emojis on here. It's one of the reasons why I use this one. So in the awareness stage, they're thinking. They're like, is this right for me, right? In the search phase, they want to be satisfied. When they're searching for something, they want to land on a conclusion. They want to have something that they sort of end with that satisfies that search. When they download or negotiate or purchase, that's a good feeling, like gives them a quick dopamine hit. So when they download something or they make the purchase, they feel accomplished, like, oh, I just did something that's going to be valuable and useful to me. Then the installation phase of that download, or, I guess for e-commerce, the next phase might be, sort of the waiting or the receiving phase. And if you're installing the app that you just downloaded, your mind's going to be blown, hopefully, or you're receiving the product, your mind's going to be blown. And then use, you feel good again. You're actually using the sneakers you got or the app that you got. So you can use these journeys to get an idea of how you want your customer to feel when they're going through the journey of purchasing your product, and use this to kind of guide a lot of the other things that are going to come next, like actually implementing some of the designs. And that's what we're going to next. Design the UX flow to facilitate the journey all the way to post-purchase. So when you're designing your UX, you're going to be using everything we just talked about. Your UX is, where are you going to put the buttons that you found you were tracking in your heat mapping and your click tracking? Where are you going to put the different features on your websites based on scroll monitoring. How far are people scrolling down the page on desktop and in mobile? You're going to use the customer journey to know what you're presenting to somebody at what points throughout their flow, their click flow throughout the website. So you're going to be using all of this information, your customer behavioral data. You're going to be using that information to make educated decisions, to tweak your wireframes, and then actually implement that design. And you should also keep in the back of your mind, or the front of your mind actually, where the traffic is going to be coming from. Is it going to be coming from a Google ad? Is it going to be coming from a Facebook ad? Google ads are very different from a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad or a social media ad in general. Because a Google ad or an Amazon ad, Amazon's different though, because it doesn't lead to your website, it leads to your product page. But a Google ad is usually catching somebody when they're already searching for something. They're already entering the funnel. Social media might be a little bit different because you're interrupting somebody in a lot of cases. You're not meeting them in a journey they're already on. They could be doing a million different things. On Instagram, they could be wasting time in the doctor's office, just scrolling through Instagram. They could be looking for an influencer that they love following. Maybe they're hilarious. Maybe they're a comedian and they're just looking for some entertainment. They could be looking for a pair of shoes. They forgot what account they saw it on, and so they're scrolling through their saved posts. They could be doing anything on social media. And so you're interrupting them with an ad. Hopefully you're influencing them because they're a part of your particular audience. But that behavior of them clicking on the ad and going to your website, that intent is very different. And so the UX that needs to be designed for that person on social media, it should be different than the UX that catches somebody coming from a Google ad or a link that you rank for high in Google, right? So understanding all the data behind your UX that you're designing is very important. And that's why we had all the stages leading up to actually designing your UX. And I pulled this little graphic. Again, it's not moving on the presentation, but it should move in your actual deck when you download it. But you might get a trial customer. So this is specific for a software program, it looks like in most cases. A trial customer that comes in, signs up for a free trial. And then after the trial, they sign up for email. After they sign up for email, they'll get a welcome campaign over here. So underneath, it'll come over to a welcome campaign, and then it'll scroll up and they'll become a new subscriber, and they go through the new subscriber campaign. So this is sort of showing a workflow of a journey somebody could take when landing on a website. And so you want to create UX that maps to the above user journey or customer journeys that you want people to take. And we use Segment, again, as the software program for that. Okay, next. We want to revise or develop a new sitemap. So after you've designed or developed your customer journey, you've sort of mapped out your wireframe flow, your wireframes and the flow. You've designed the UX of your homepage and some of the parent pages. You might need to change your sitemap. You might need to add or remove unnecessary pages to make sure it aligns with your customer journey. And so creating a new sitemap is a really good way to build out the structural framework of your website and make sure that there's nothing missing. Designing a customer journey and a workflow has so many different pathways, potential pathways, right? Somebody could land on your homepage and go 10 different places. And you want to try to develop a workflow that shows what happens if they go to any one of those 10 different places. And those 10 different places could mean 10 different websites or web pages. So you want to try to put all of those into your new sitemap. And you can use this software program called Miro, which is actually much broader than just sitemaps. It's a visual whiteboard that remote teams can use to collaborate in real time. So on Zoom calls, you can all share the same whiteboard and add sticky notes and move things around and talk about collaboration and things like that without physically being in the same place. But it's also really good for sitemaps. As you can see here, this is an example right here. So Miro is a good software program to help you build out your sitemap. Okay, next stage is to design and launch the UX. And one of the most, I would say the most important thing, really, to maximize your conversions is to test everything. I and my team has always gotten into trouble when we don't test things and we just go on gut. Always, right? Maybe we went on gut to begin with, but then we tested afterwards and we got things to a better place for conversions after we tested. So I guess it depends on if you're starting from scratch or not. But after you have something up, you need to test everything. There's really no excuse not to with all the software and programs out there to be able to do so. One of them here is VWO, a great program that allows you to A/B test UX, and you can even track like what happens with those different tests, like where do people click, what do they do, what's the conversion on those different tests. And here's a little example of, side by side. On the left-hand side, you see one of the variants is light pink, and the buttons are like a little bit darker of a pink. It's a little bit more of a light style. The menu is white. The logo it's against a white background with a light pink sort of bar across it. And then the variant on the right is dark purple, has lighter purple accents, but it's much more of like a intense sort of vibe. And that one has a 20% lift on results. So if you looked at each of these pages individually without seeing the other one or without knowing, what you're looking for, they both look great, don't they? They look amazing. If you saw the one on the left, you'd be like, oh, this looks great. If you saw the one on the right, you'd be like, oh, this looks great. But by A/B testing them side by side, you can use actual data to know which one will actually make more sales and conversions. VWO, great software to be able to do that. But now that you've done all that hard work with customer behavior analysis and page analysis and keyword research and wireframing and all that hard work and time spent doing that, make sure you test the outcomes to make sure that you're making those optimizations to further convert people. Next, you want to hypothesize average order value improvements and test them. So now I'm using the word hypothesize because while there are software programs out there that can sort of project ways to increase your average order value, in fact, there are some plugins on Shopify that do this. You want to sort of look back up and look at your actual business and your offerings. If you have one product, it's going to be kind of tough to increase your average order value unless you bundle together deals, like you do like, buy two, get one free or something like that. So all the same product. In fact, I did that recently with a phone holder on a car phone holder. It's like a magnet thing. And you just kind of stick it on your dashboard and then it comes with a magnet. Actually, I have the magnet on the back here. And they only had one product, but what they did is they said you could buy one for, I don't remember the prices, but you could buy one for $10, or you could buy three for $15, or you could buy five for $25, something like that. And they encourage you to give away the other ones for a gift. And I'm like, no brainer. So I think I bought five, and I did give them away as gifts, right? So that increased their average order value. But you can see a screenshot here of a spreadsheet where you can sort of go through scenarios of how to increase your average order value just from a numbers perspective, right? So you can change the numbers here. The traffic is the same. The orders are the same. Just by increasing the price a little bit. Abandoned carts is the same. Total ad spend is the same. The conversion value goes up a little bit. The return on ad spend goes up a little bit. And that will now increase your average order value at the bottom a little bit. So you can do your own homework to see if you can just increase your prices. Maybe you can just increase your price by 50 cents and boom, your average order value is up a little bit. Or you can bundle products. Or if you have a lot of products, you can do either upsells or cross sells. So an upsell would be like, oh, you wanted to buy this product for $10, but if you get the premium version for $20, you'll actually get X, Y, and Z. And so they're like, oh, I'll just go with that one. So you upsell them. You could cross sell as well. This is an example, which I think I have on the next page here, which is Apple. If you buy a MacBook, you put it in your cart and you go to buy it, they will have on that checkout page recommended accessories. And so now you're cross-selling other items that add value to the original item, intrinsic value, right? Like if I buy this MacBook, then I do want an extra lightning cable charger. So it's going to add value intrinsically, but it's also going to add actual monetary value to that purchase. And VWO, which is the A/B testing software, will actually make some of these recommendations for you, and it will help you track average order value and opportunities to increase your average order value. And here's another example of an upsell. So a lot of times when you're signing up for software, you'll see the different options that you can sign up for: the basic, the premium, the platinum, and they will highlight the best buy, the best deal. And that's the one that they want you to buy, but they're going to sandwich it between other ones generally because they want that power of comparison to kick in. I don't want the low cost one, the cheap one, because I want all the features, but I don't want the enterprise one because I can't afford it. So I'm going to pick the one in the middle. So this is a great way to increase your average order value as well. Okay. Hypothesize lifetime value, LTV or CLV, depending on the acronym you want to use. And hypothesizing your lifetime value, you don't have to hypothesize if you've been in business and you have had a website for a while. You can simply go into Google Analytics and see the actual lifetime value, or some of these other software programs. I put the screenshot here because this is a pretty cool chart showing you some of the most effective tactics for increasing customer lifetime value. So you can go through these. I'm not going to go through all of them individually, but there's specific industry reasons, tactics for increasing lifetime value that you can implement. But if you have historical data, you can see the lifetime value of a particular products or customers and make educated decisions based on that. Google Analytics actually has ways that you can measure lifetime value and even project lifetime value, which I showed in this screenshot right here. Okay. Moving through, we're getting towards the end here. User test as often as necessary. Now, this step I would say is optional. And I say it's optional because I know a lot of teams don't have time, resources, to do this. But this is a pretty cool software program, Lytics. And what it does is it allows you to actually create a flow of what you want to test, right? So maybe you want somebody to go click through your website to buy a particular product. So you create the flow. And then you implement Lytics, which actually has a pool of people that will test your thing for you. Like they don't know who you are or anything, but they, have signed up to be a tester. And so they will test your actual flow and give you real-time feedback. You can see the gentleman here on a video call with the actual, product supervisor or whatever, going through the flow and giving real-time feedback on that. And so you can make decisions and you can test the things that you've done, the UX that you've built, the customer journey that you've built, to see if in practice it actually works. And then you can make adjustments based on that. But you generally need to have a team or an agency or somebody to really help you through this because, this can be time consuming and eat up a lot of resources. This will maybe save you some time. And maybe this is needed if you're launching something really big that you don't want to mess up. You're going to want to make sure you test this as much as possible. But if you can get away with launching something, it's on a small scale, and then test as you're going, maybe you can skip this step. And continuously test and optimize based on data after that test period. So this is basically when you launch. Continuously test. Decibel is a software program that will help monitor what's going on and collect a lot of the initial sort of hypothesis into real-time testing of everything that's going on. Customer journeys and pathways and leaky buckets and everything that's going on. So you can make educated decisions and continuously optimize things going on your website. Some of the other software programs you could pair together that will do this, but Decibel is a great program that can do it sort of all in one. And the last step here, again, in the presentation, sorry, it's not going through the actual motion, but if you download the deck, it will. Implement email marketing automation. This doesn't need to be the last step. In fact, it probably shouldn't be the last step if you're building this from scratch. But if you're optimizing a current property, a current platform, then making sure that all of your journeys, workflows, your buttons are in there, making sure all of that is set up is a bit more important than email marketing automation, because a lot of the email marketing automation that happens, it could be transactional, meaning they've already made a purchase and it's sending their receipt, their tracking information, things like that. But it could also be from actions being taken on the website. So email marketing automation oftentimes is trying to bring people back, or bring them back as users, bring them back as customers, re-engage them, things like that. But you want to make sure that your website is fully optimized first, so that you don't risk losing them in the first place. But setting up email marketing automation is important. It can do things like, if they opted in to download an ebook or to get 10% off of their first purchase or something like that, but they didn't make the decision to purchase, you can win them back via SMS and text, or email, or even live chat. So I did email marketing, but we could bundle text and live chat into this as well. So that is it. At the end here, I have software stack recommendations. So this is just a quick and easy way to see all the software programs that I was talking about. I added a few other ones in here as well. So things like GT metrics, my team uses to measure website speed. If your website's not fast, people will never make it to your website. So you could do all of the things I talked about in this webinar, and it could all be worthless if your website takes 10 seconds to load. So GT metrics is one of them. Proof is another one. Proof sort of plugs into almost any website, and it allows you to personalize journeys for your people based on actions and things like that. So it can plug into a Shopify site or different websites like that, and it can personalize their journey based on actions. I think all the other ones I mentioned, but you can click through and look at these if you want to use these for your team. Okay, that's it. Man, I was only 7 minutes late today. Last week I was a bit more. If you have any questions, I'll stick around for a few minutes to answer them. You can put them in the comments section wherever you're watching this, on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. You can ask them here. And you can always hit me up on, what's the best place? Best place to ask me questions is probably LinkedIn direct message, I would say. You can do Twitter. You can DM me on any of the platforms, actually. I'll look at all of them sooner or later. But any questions, pop them in the comments. And while we're waiting to see if anybody has any questions, just a reminder, next week is not going to be an actual webinar. It's going to be a live chat with a friend of mine, Chris Panabianco, the Chief Marketing Officer of Security, a in-home gun safe storage system to make sure that your firearms are safe, away from your kids, and but easily accessible. Not affiliated with them at all, but a pretty cool thing is they make systems that can be distributed throughout the house, so that can be used for self-defense or something like that. But it's also very safe from a storage perspective. We're going to be interviewing him as well as some of his team about direct mail and the effectiveness of direct mail in 2022. Definitely goes against everything, not against, but it has nothing to do with what we do, at Goodmonster or in the digital world. But Kenyo, where are you putting me here, buddy? There. But direct mail, they're finding it's super effective in today's day and age, right? So direct mail is a place where a lot of people are investing. Not a lot of businesses are investing, but Chris says it's one of the, a super highly effective way to generate awareness and revenue. And so I want to learn from him and his team how they're using it. So tune in next week, and then we will be back the following week for another webinar on how to increase your Amazon sales. So scan the QR code here. If you have any feedback, my team and I would love it. And if you want to attend the next live event, scan the other QR code, next webinar. And then the following week, we'll be back for how to increase sales on Amazon. That's right. Hopefully you found this valuable. Tell your friends. Friday webinars. It's the shit. But anyways, happy Friday. Hope you found this valuable. Share this, subscribe, follow, do all that good kind of stuff. I talk all about commerce and marketing and everything your business needs to succeed. So I hope to see you back here Friday. Thanks, everyone. Doesn't look like there's any questions. So I think with that, we're out. Cheers. Have an amazing day.